With the president of the Sri Lanka Rugby Football Union, Mr. Asanga Seneviratne, who is very proud at this moment in time that Sri Lanka have achieved 4th place in Asia. He's overseen a fabulous win over the Philippines in Manila. So beating a team away from home is an outstanding achievement. Asanga, what do you think of this particular tournament win when compared to previous ones?
Well, I think Shanaka, it's a great pleasure to see Sri Lanka not just win, but for such a young side to win. Because as you know, about 9 of our top players didn't make it this year. About 4 were actually involved in their studies, and there are a few injuries and some opted out. So this is a very young, inexperienced side. And I'm really happy to see that the young boys have come through. Our average age is about 23 at the moment. So it argues well for the future of Sri Lanka rugby.
When you see the tries that they've scored, Asanga, when you look at Dhanushka Ranjan run through defences, when you look at Fazil Marija tear people apart, this team is capable of big things, isn't it?
Absolutely. I've always believed that Sri Lanka has it, has what it takes to make it in the international arena. A lot of people doubted the fact that we could compete in 15s. I for one believe that we can compete, but there's a lot of work to be done. I believe that we need scientific training, we need a plan, a 4 or 5 year plan, and we need funds. We need the funds, and we need absolute support from the government. No sport can develop without government support, and everywhere in the world, government builds facilities, government builds stadiums, they build accommodation, and they actually see the players' welfare through. The rugby union or the association of whichever sport it is merely is an administrator and also helps out, but the government must take responsibility to take Sri Lanka to the next level.
And you've got a promise or a commitment from the Minister of Sports, Mr. Navin Dissanayake, saying that he will do that. What will you be asking him for?
Navin, as you know, is a young guy, and he loves sport. And I think he's honest and straightforward, so it's easy to work with. What we really need at the moment is a scientific training center. It's not just for rugby, but for sport in general. We have some of the best scientists in the country, in the world. We have very good, capable people who can run the programs. But we need to actually build a facility, and we also need accommodation for our top national players. Not just the accommodation that's available now, which is very basic, and you cannot expect top-class athletes to live in. So these are the 2 major issues that we would like the minister to look at and help us with.
We have a chance of going third in Asia if we beat Hong Kong, Asanga, now that we have qualified for the playoff. Can you explain your reasons as to why we are choosing not to play that game immediately?
As you know, last year we lost quite badly to Hong Kong in Sri Lanka itself, and now we have to play them if we do choose to in Hong Kong. I don't think we are ready, and I don't think it's fair to ask the boys to go so quickly and play, and also the fact that the coach really, Johan Taylor, hasn't had much time with us. I personally asked Johan Taylor to take over the coaching of Sri Lanka rugby in 2010. As vice president, I was in charge of the national team, and I brought him back now again when he was available. You see, he is a man with a lot of knowledge. He has a great vision, and I think he needs a little more time. He too has agreed with my thinking. He says that we are not ready yet to embark on this. So what we are planning on doing is using that funds and investing a little more to try and play 2 European sides in the top 30. Because if we by chance manage to beat one of those sides, and I think we have a very good chance. I think in your introduction you also mentioned how we beat Poland, and that is a good example how you can a faster, more nippy sort of skillful side can overcome brute strength and force. So my belief is that we have a very good chance to beat one of those European sides. And if we do beat one of those European sides, we go into the low 30s. And Shanaka, I don't know whether you're aware of this, but as Secretary General of Asian Rugby, I'm pushing heavily to have a 2nd tier World Cup. I think that is a dying need. Rugby is a very popular sport. It's, I think, one of the most popular sports in the world, one of the fastest growing sports in the world, and we need a 2nd tier World Cup, because as you know, the 1st tier is probably not possible for a lot of us to aspire to in the next 10 to 20 years. So what do we do, So with that in mind, we've been in talks with Mark Egan. We're very close to having the 2nd tier 7's tournament being played in over 3 or 4 countries. At the moment, it's only played in Hong Kong, and it's just a one-off. So if we get the second tier 7s and the second tier 15s, and Sri Lanka can compete in both, we have a very good future for our boys.
And that's something that you've taken a lot of steps to professionalize Asanga, make sure that they get a monthly stipend. You've given them a winning bonus for winning this tournament as well. How much do the sponsors play a part in this progression?
I'll tell you, Shanaga, if not for the sponsors, there's no way we can develop this sport. A lot of administrators come into sport and they have a lot of good ideas. They know the game, they know a lot of things, right? But to really implement a program and to take the sport forward, you must be able to raise money. So if it is not the president, the vice president, treasurer or somebody in the administration must have that capacity to bring the funds in. If you don't, how do you develop the sport? So whether it's cricket or rugby, the administrators must focus on raising funds and administrating the sport in a just and fair manner. There's no point coming and preaching and trying to say that this is our plan, this is our program, and this is our future. But if you don't have the funds, then nothing can be done. And to the credit of our dialogue, they've been an absolutely fantastic support of sport for Sri Lanka. Not just rugby. So I really thank them, and they've really helped us advance our rankings as well as the sport in the country. And I can truly tell you that from 2012 to 2015, in a space of just 3 years, our sponsorship has increased tenfold. So that's a sort of commitment that they brought in. And the administration, the committees also have worked really hard to convince these people that it's worth investing in.
The current cradle of the national team, Asanga, is going to be the schools rugby and then the club rugby environment. But the intensity of both those competitions is not anywhere near necessary to compete at international level. What does the union think that they're going to do about maintaining the standards of training more than anything else at a club level?
Absolutely good point, Shanaga. As you know, about 2 years ago, I started making a move to try and take over schools rugby, which I've got a lot of slack for. I believe that without the SLRFU running schools rugby, we cannot take that next step, because what's happening is a lot of kids just want to play a school game and they're very happy with that. They don't want to, go that extra yard and try and get into the national side. Now, how do we change that? We have to change that with making them proud of the national jersey at a very young age. That means having under 14, under 16, under 18, under 20 national teams. It's a must, because you have to have a pathway for our children. So there's no pathway at the moment. The schools rugby is just it's a tournament about just winning a match. It's not about developing a player. It's not about a pathway. It's not about a lifestyle. It's about just winning that match. And that's it. Everything is forgotten after that. And in order to win that match, they will take, any drastic step that is needed, and sometimes not even fairly, to see ends to their means. So it's just a crazy situation at the moment. And last year, when we nearly had it, there was an intervention from the highest levels of government, and then it was stopped. So, as a SLRFU, it's very difficult for us to do anything to develop the area what you're speaking of without having control.
Well, that's something hopefully of the past. Asanga, congratulations on this win, and all the best for the future in the steps that you've got looking forward. You've got a big plan lined up, so all the best for it.
Thank you, Shana. We are trying our best.